Welcome, everyone. This is Jeannie Manchester. I'm here with my ongoing interviews with women around the world. And I'm very happy today to have Mukta Mudgal here with us today. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm so delighted you're here. As you know, I am leading a 21-day Ayurvedic cleanse, which I always do. In the spring especially. You came to mind because we just met in India a few weeks ago, which was really thrilling. We were both teaching at the Shakti Kumbh in Rishikesh, and that was a pure delight. And I was so excited about your session because it was Ayurveda, but it was really around women and Ayurveda. And our topic today, which I'm very excited about, is around women's womb and the womb health. And I think this is so important to understand on a physical level. Ayurvedically, I'd love to hear the impact of Ayurveda on a woman's womb. But also, I'd love to dive in maybe a little bit later around both of our study around Sri Vidya and this focus of the womb. Yes. Yeah, so lots to talk about. Welcome. And where should we start? We could start with a little bit of, where did you, obviously you're from India, but you're living in Canada. Yes. How did you go from India to Canada, and how did you get involved in Ayurveda and eventually into Sri Vidya? And I know there's this rich story with your mother, I believe, grandmother or mother. Yes. So
thank you, Shri Matre Nama. This is how Shri Matre Nama, everybody is divine. So actually, I guess we come with a journey or a path already decided. This is how I feel, because my whole journey, it was about this. I had, as a child, epilepsy, and was on medication from age 4 to 14. And so it really was like, had a big impact on my youth, as a teenage age. So I think because of that, I was already towards the journey of learning to heal myself. I didn't like the Western medicine. I didn't want to have to do anything with them. They had a very bad negative impact on me. So I just wanted to move out of the epileptic medications and have normal life and have, children in future, be happy, things like that. So I started my journey very young. At 14, 15, I was already kind of figuring out how I could heal myself. At that point, that was my priority. So I went into a very, my mother, actually, we come from a very Shakta lineage. My mother is a very big Shakti practitioner of Durga, and the whole lineage of her mom and my mother's side. And my father's side was Shiva lineage. So I saw my grandmother always praying to Shiva. But even with seeing all of that constantly, surrounded by the mantras and my mother's prayers every morning, every evening, there was so much in the house. I chose to go Buddhist path. So I went into Vipassana. I had to heal myself, and I thought I was going to just put myself into one 10-day retreat. And lo and behold, that really changed my life. My whole, the neurons that, were firing in a different way. They were, the connection of the whole thing was like completely different. I came out changed being, to tell you in short. And I was hooked. I was like, for next 3 years to 5 years, I was only on a journey of Vipassana, going retreat after retreat after retreat, and I had completely revived myself. And I totally, like, I am in awe of that, the whole path of mindfulness. And so it never left me. It's be deep rooted in me. But over the periods, I was, still mind was in control and everything was happening fine. But I still had like issues with my, child bearing and things like that. And I was still looking for, and I had seen the magic through Vipassana that there was, etheric layers that I could connect to. and I could feel that there's more to it than just the mind, and so my research went on to study Ayurveda, and I studied Ayurveda. I had two miscarriages and PCOD and things like that, and I was literally fixing myself. I didn't do it to teach, or it was about knowing and understanding how it can heal women, and I started to study Ayurveda. We had moved in 1996, I moved to Canada. So it's been 27 years, 28 years. And that's when I was like wanting to have family and I couldn't conceive. And so I started studying Ayurveda. And long and behold, again, I was pregnant. I had two children, beautiful children, and everything went very well. And again, this, mystical, I was connecting with this Ayurveda a lot with mantras. And I studied Deepak Chopra and the mantra science and all of that. And it just happened that my mother introduced me to somebody who was from Devipuram. And I was just sitting in front of them and I said, like, I want to study this. And she said, okay, if you're ready. That's what she said, you're ready. And she gave me a number of my teacher who was in America at that time, or it was in India, but he's Raja Chaudhary. He was doing online courses. So I did an online course with him just to understand the background and everything. And it was like fascinating. I couldn't, I was hooked. I just was hooked to Sri Vidya. And then I found my real guru, Guru Karunamaya, who led me to Devipuram, and then Amma, Guruji, Amma, Amritananda's wife, initiated me. And it was like the dots were connecting, the puzzles were coming together, and I could understand the Ayurveda connection to Sri Vidya and Sri Vidya, Ayurveda and Vipassana, and all of it, like it was like the whole piece together. And I every day is a surprise for me. I just keep learning, and it's Mother's grace. She is just has opened up this whole communication, with her is it's at a different level. I just feel like she wants me to do this and not me, and that's how it's happening through me. So it's
I love that. I was just meditating this morning and just, dropping the bhavana in around, how can I serve? Because I think in the end, that's what we have to do. The personality has to surrender so that we can serve from the destiny that we're made for. So I love your story, and it gives me hope for my own children. They're both initiated into a Shakta Shaivite path, and but they don't practice much. They're 27 and 22, and the 27-year-old actually has had 2 initiations. So I'm hopeful one day, just like you, they have to go off and find their way, and then maybe, by the auspices of grace, they find their way back, or they find their own spiritual path.
I have the 24-year-old as well, and who's is not interested at all. So I totally understand. But when it's time, they will come back. They know, they've seen it, and when it resonates with them, they will be back. So
yeah, exactly. Well, I love the story of your connection to your mom and how this has come back, because really Sri Vidya and the path that I'm on, it's a Shakta Shaivite path. It's both. Abhinavagupta really is the source of Sri Vidya. I don't think we understand that in many ways. Yeah. And I know a lot of people listening right now don't really probably have that kind of background or care really about that. But I think what would be interesting is to just mention that the Sri Vidya path and the Shaivite path I'm on is a householder path. So it's really meant for living in the world. And I think women that I'm working with are working in the world. They're mothers. They've got a husband or a partner. Some of them have children, some don't. Some are just working in the world. Some are yoga teachers, some are not. And I think what's important is that we understand that the body is the temple in the Sri Vidya and the Shaivite path that I'm on. And that seems very important to the womb space. So I'd love for you to pick up where you feel belonging to share around the womb, Ayurveda, Sri Vidya, your experience of healing your own womb, being able to conceive, and what a fascinating path.
Yeah. So I think to begin with, Lalita Tripura Sundari, who is the goddess of Sri Vidya, the supreme goddess. There, all the goddesses are in her. So she's the supreme most at the Sahasrara, and all the goddesses come into her. And it's mainly Shakta tradition is about love, joy, so enjoyment and playfulness and luxury in a sense of like having full life, karma, moksha, all of it. But it begins with desire. It begins with knowing, having a desire to have a family, to be loved, to love. So first thing when she comes into you, you pour out of love. You're like, the love is pouring out of you, like in every cell of your being. So it's not possible that you will not, if you have a desire for family, you will. And if you have a desire for a business or anything else that you want to give birth to, she's the womb energy, the creative energy, the life force energy that comes into the universe. So as you know, as I was studying Ayurveda, we were learning about the 36 tattvas to reach the divine. There are levels of tattvas, five senses, their actions, organs, and all of that. So it leads you to how to reach the divine. The path of Ayurveda is also very spiritual. If you work through the senses and the five elements and the taste and all of that, you reach the path of divine, like to the union with the divine, and that's the Shiva Shakti union. And Lalita's path is similar. She comes from the universe, and that's when I really fell into love with her, because it was like, oh, this is Ayurveda. She is Ayurveda. Because to reach through Sri Yantra to her is actually Sri Yantra is a representation of the cosmos and the cosmos and all the elements, five elements, there's and the five senses and the organs and all of the tanmatras and all of that is representation of Sri Yantra. And I was like, oh my God! In so many cultures, they actually in Bali the representation of Sri Vidya represents, new birth, fertile land, and because she has a sugar cane in her hand. So it's always about birthing. It's always about creating. She is about creation. She created the universe, and you go back into her, and so it is the path, the journey from our life to the universe and then universe life back into us is through the Sri Vidya or through Ayurveda. So to me, they were looking the same. They were the same path. And so when I started to understand her that way, she started to unfold in me the secrets of Ayurveda and the secrets of Sri Vidya and the womb, especially the womb, and how womb is so important for women because we are her representation. We are the tiny, minute she works through us through the womb Shakti of the women, divine women. We all of us are that. And when we are not honoring that, and we are not fulfilling our desire of the womb creation, we are actually not serving her. So this is why I felt like, she wanted me to open that up. She kept saying in one of my, prayers, she just kept saying, just go back to the womb. Just go back, do the womb sadhana, teach womb sadhana. And I would hear that over and over again, and I couldn't understand it very well in the beginning. How do I do the womb sadhana? And then it started to come to me because we have so much of trauma. Actually, the memories are all stored in our womb, especially for women. We, as emotional beings, all our memories are stored in the second chakra, sacral chakra, and the Mooladhara, and all of that. So when we heal that, we can manifest anything we like. We can do anything we like. We can have a baby. We can have anything we like. So it's a zone of manifestation, basically a zone of giving birth. But we have to know how to nurture it. We have to know how to care for it. We have to worship it like it's a goddess.
Yeah.
And our whole body is, the whole Srividya sadhana is about your body being the goddess, and you worship your body, and womb being the most important one. So through Ayurvedic practices, I began to learn to heal and serve, and bring that mother energy to work for us. So that's been my dream.
So beautiful. I'm just sitting here like, oh my gosh, it brought me to a memory of postpartum for me. I was lucky enough to engage with midwives here in Boulder. And so they tended to my body. I did have a tear in the first birth, and it was able to heal on its own. The second birth, they sewed, but very, very, very carefully right there in the home, had my birth home, and had the babies, and I had my second baby in the bathtub with me, singing, chanting, it was just so beautiful. And then there was the healing of the womb. And the midwives here did a lot of yoni steam, herbal steams. And I'm curious about, well, lots of things around the womb. How did Ayurveda specifically, what were the practices? And then were you doing Chandra Namaskars, or definitely the mantra, right? But I'm curious as to what that looked like for you. I just feel so grateful to have had these midwives who were showing me the way, showing me how to heal postpartum. And because I wasn't privy to all that knowledge, even though I was on the yoga path. I was still very young, and didn't quite understand, what does it mean to have a baby and then to heal from that? Or what does it mean to not be able to conceive? And then how do you prepare the womb, the healing of the womb, for conceiving? I just think this is so fascinating.
Yeah. And I think that's what in the modern women, in this fight for equality, we have forgotten our own intelligence. And that's what has, I feel so, I was a part of it. So I can say that, I was the one of them who was just denying and wanting to be, everything equal, do whatever men are doing. But it's not about that. It's about actually nourishing and nurturing and realizing our own strengths. And the whole, our bodies and biology is totally created only for creation of the nature, for creation of the universe, for creation of a baby. Our hormones are produced every month just for that purpose. We have a cycle, our bleeding cycle is only our biology only knows, that's all it knows. You can fight it and you can say, no, I'm going to go to gym during my periods and do everything that men do, but you still, you're not serving yourself, and you're not honoring all of that. And so our ancient knew how to take care of that, and that's what we have forgotten. We've forgotten that there was a whole science that taught how to nurture and take care of a womb during pregnancy, after pregnancy, before pregnancy, how to even conceive, and how to take care of it so it doesn't affect us for rest of our life. And this is why we have so much of problems around the cycles, because we've denied it. We don't want to accept that we have periods, we bleed, and we don't honor it, we don't nurture it, we don't nourish it, we don't take care of it. And this is a gift of divine. This is how she is working through us. And when we are denying that part of us, and we are trying to be more masculine, we need both energies. But during the cycle of the moon and cycle of our periods, we need to nourish and nurture ourselves. And then when we understand that, align ourselves to the moon cycles. Full moon is the time for having your full beauty, your charm, your attractiveness, and attracting your mate, your partner, and glowing like a full moon. Purnamada. I am complete and whole, and I can do anything I want at that time. And then new moon, letting it go, nourish it, just letting it dissolve into the earth, Mother Earth, anything that has not served us, removing it, releasing it. And new moon, we used to, in ancient date, all women actually had their periods on new moon, and they conceived on the full moon. So our cycles were so aligned with the nature. we were aligned with the sun cycles, we were aligned with the moon cycles, and we had very few problems. And we have for so long we have lived, but we think like this, we were not right then, we were not living it right then. And so we are now just not following anything. But people were more aligned then with nature than we are now today. And we are just mucking everything up. Because as you honor the nature, as you honor the cycles of the nature, your womb aligns with the nature. And as it aligns, all your hormones come to balance, everything, the stress hormones, antioxidant, all of that, everything, serotonin, melatonin, and dopamine, everything is generated naturally because they're all connected to the cycle of nature. So we have to just learn to sync with the nature cycle. And that's when we can honor our body and honor our womb, and we can create as a Shakti in the universe. So.
And is that how you began to heal your womb? Through following the moon? I'm through my menstruation. I'm in menopause, and I still follow the moon. I've always been in love with the moon, actually, and I wish I had more understanding when I was menstruating to just be, more mindful, more caring, more nurturing, but I can pass that to my daughter, and I think the young ones coming up need that support.
Yeah.
So you started to follow the moon cycles, and
absolutely.
Yes.
And that's when I saw, how when my cycle, actually a lot with Sri Vidya, which I started 7-8 years ago, and I was almost going into perimenopause. And so I was having very erratic cycles. I would have it 1 month, and 3 months I wouldn't have it. And sometimes it was all over the place. And, a lot very painful. And what happened with Sri Vidya mantras, and as I started to do the mantras with the moon, we have a mantra for each night of the moon, each phase of the moon. We call them, Nitya Devis. So my next course is about Nitya Devis. I want to do this course where I can teach everyone to align with the moon. And it's just like 10 minutes every evening. You just sit and align with the moon, because moon has this energy that is very potent for women. So, as I started to chant the mantras, it was just magic. I'm like, so much magic has happened in my life. And I was one of those who didn't believe in it. I was like totally like a Buddhist, I didn't believe in idols. I didn't believe in goddesses. I didn't believe in for longest period of time. And they just proved me all wrong, because it just aligned. It aligned with the of moon cycle. And I was having my periods on new moon. And it was just amazing. And I was like, oh, and no cramping, no pain. So, and even a lot of times, I learned to start to do my own Uttara Bhasti, and I started to do the treatments, Ayurvedic treatment. So that helped too, a lot of that with new moon too. There are certain treatments you do in Ayurveda, and in full moons, there are certain treatments you do. So I was doing all of that. And this is how I was learning and training and, figuring out for myself and how it's helping me. So I have been my own, research lab, I should say.
That is amazing. I think it seems so simple in a way, just line up with the moon, right? But because of modern day culture, society, lights, so forth, and of course, the way that we approach our bodies during our cycles impacts, how we have a cycle or we don't have a cycle, or we have too much cramping or discomfort, or we don't. It's stress in the body. It's like if we just lived closer to nature, it seems so simple and yet so complex for each of us. So I'm curious, do you actually lead women through it? Let's say someone was listening and they were struggling with their cycle. I do have some students that are in that struggle right now. Do you work with people with these particular practices, or you have this course coming up that could serve women in learning how to sync with the moon?
Exactly.
Yes.
And then having with certain, herbs, those are the, our gifts. So we can use specific herbs for specific, like PCOD. using, shatavari and triphala, and for somebody with pitta, you use aloe vera. So the decoction bit changes a bit,
Yes.
but just doing those decoction into your Uttarabasti, nourishing your womb, and during full moon, and oiling and massaging, and just like treating yourself like a goddess, doing marma massage. I will be teaching all of that in my course, how to nourish yourself as a woman. And during the new moon, you do less of abhyanga. You don't put as much oil, because you're just releasing. When you put the oil, you're absorbing, you're loving, you're nourishing, you're nurturing, you're worshiping yourself. And new moon, you're releasing, you're letting go. So you do the sadhanas that prepare you for that. And so it's the opposite. And mantras have a big effect, obviously. And you're chanting every night with looking at the moon just for 10 minutes or so, and it just empowers the whole thing. And you just, it starts to align automatically. You don't have to do much. It just starts to align. We have forgotten these were given in every culture in some way to all of us. Beautiful practices. Yeah. And
Yeah.
Srividya is yeah, she is really the womb Shakti. She is the womb Shakti. When you chant the mantra of hers, it is the first thing that happens is activation of the womb, and then that's magnetism. That the moment she starts to activate your womb, you will have this frequency of your magnetism multiplied tenfold. When you look at you, would want to talk to you, wants to come, have some kind of an exchange. So it's like it's beauty unfolded. It's like she's unbelievably beautiful goddess. I love her so much because she brings in nothing but love and beauty into you. So that's
so beautiful. And so for the listeners that don't understand Sri Vidya, we did say this is a beautiful study to Lalita Tripura Sundari, and who is seen as sort of a young woman around the age of puberty, yes, with like flush skin, beautiful skin, and full of sort of unctuousness. I like that word, unctuousness. And that we even in menopause, I can find this, even though I'm way beyond that 16-year-old. Yeah, so I'm curious, we both have these mantras initiated, given to us under the auspices of initiation, which to me has been the most profound thing of my life. It has awakened the Kundalini, which, you could say is Lalita, or lots of ways to describe the Kundalini Shakti, but it does stir the womb. It does stir, eventually, it does stir this energy that we would call Kundalini. And it seems to me that that's important, an important awakened state for the womb, for the pelvis. That could be quite possibly dormant in many women, whether it's from trauma or just our society. Even if you haven't had trauma, we still sort of have collective trauma, I believe, or it could be just the way you were brought up and the way that you were not free to experience your womb. There's so many different ways why we contracted. As a collective, as a worldwide, I would say, like, women around the world, unless you grew up in nature where women were revered, which they were 25,000 years ago, in Indus Valley. But for most of us, we've grown up with, I grew up in an Ashtanga Vinyasa studio here in Boulder, I had the most exquisite teacher. He was very feminine and very Shakti filled. And yet, I was doing a pretty strong, vigorous Pitta practice through my 20s and 30s. And then I started to kind of shift and change. And now I teach to nature. I teach to what is in the day, what is present. So there's kind of a long-winded story around, like womb healing, but I think that the awakening of imbibing a mantra or mantras in general have an impact on the womb space. And I think that maybe that's important for women to hear. Do you want to comment on that?
Sure. There's a lot of times even ancestral patterns that come into our being, we may not be even aware of it. And a lineage brings in a lot of womb trauma, and some certain countries, where there's some war or something has happened and we're not even aware. It's generations back, but it still sits in your womb, it still sits in your body, it still sits in your psyche. So all of that, we are, and some of us are more sensitive. Those who are in tune are sometimes even more sensitive, and we take on for the whole collective. So for healing the womb is very important. And Kundalini, which sits right at the base of the spine, when she rises her, above. So the Shri Vidya is about completely about that. So there's a mantra for each chakra and awakening the Kundalini. And from the Devi Puram, Sadhana, Guruji Amritananda gave Shakti Chakra Japa. So we were chanting the japas of each, the goddess that resides in each chakra. So each chakra has a goddess, and we would chant that mantra, and she would be awakened. And at the womb, it was connected to Sahasrara. The only chakra that's directly connected to Sahasrara is the womb chakra, that's Swadhisthana chakra. So the mantra of that is actually there are two mantras for Lalita Tripura Sundari. One is for the Bala Tripura Sundari, who's like the young Tripura Sundari, and that's at the Swadhisthana. And then at the Sahasrara, which is the full blossomed, woman, is the full mantra, which is a long mantra. And then they have another mantra. So they have, which is for the maiden age, so she represents all ages of women, and she's awakening you through everything. And it's all about Kundalini. When you chant the 1,000 names of Lalita, the 1,000 names actually represent all the attributes of nature, attributes of beauty, attributes of not beauty, attributes of love, and attributes of not love. So, everything that exists in the nature, there is good and there's bad, everything she is. So when you started to do this sadhana, there's so much unfoldment happens within you. You're just like peeling off the onions, and you don't even know why you're feeling lighter, why you're feeling happy, why you're feeling this magnetism, why everybody's attracted. You're just chanting the mantra, and then suddenly your life starts to like unfold in beautiful ways. Sometimes it's not, but mostly it's beautiful. There are times that you will see the downs as well, which are for your growth. So she's showing you both. And like I do Kali sadhana as well, and I do other sadhanas which are much more, stronger and really takes on a different path completely. But Lalita Tripura Sundari is love, the divine love of like Radha Krishna. If you ever, I had things I experienced, I would have never known if it wasn't for the sadhana. The sadhana of Lalita showed me love of Radha, unconditional love, the purity of human divine one connection. That divine connection to Krishna is just unbelievable how it unfolds. And she just shows you the love. I can feel your heart right now in my heart.
It's so sweet, and it's so necessary, I think, in our world. My teacher always says, we're living in the time of the Kali Yuga, but we're at the precipice, the pre-dawn time of the Sat Yuga, and the Sat Yuga is really that time of, and this could be a couple hundred years of working towards this. Yeah. But we are, that's what we're doing when we're healing our womb, when we're healing our bodies, when we're taking in mantra, when we're taking on Abhyanga practices, we're actually nourishing the womb in a certain kind of way, whether that's through certain Ayurvedic practices, or, for me, it was that beautiful steaming. And now in menopause, it's a whole nother another phase of caring for the womb, and Vata stage. But I was thinking about how, this unity you mentioned is so important, that we come to a place where we feel the body is just full of love. And then all it can exude through the senses is love, is that, bliss. It's hard to even describe Ananda Shakti, but it is just sort of a bubbling up of that beauty moving through us, and trusting each other, and you know, as women, sharing and not feeling envy or jealousy or whatever we do, whatever we've learned to do to cut that off. These practices are so wholesome in that way. It's you heal your womb, you heal your body, and you heal your heart. So I was just really feeling you in that moment when you said, you know, I could just feel your joy, and I was like, oh my gosh, so much unity, so much. Abhidavagupta, the 11th century Kashmir, you know, Shaivite master, Siddha guru, he really talks about this in his texts, the Tantra Sara and the Tantra Loka, and other texts, that you know, by going into deep states of meditation, you actually dip into that well in the Sushumna that is Amrita, right? And then as you come to the surface of your life, you bring a little bit more of that Amrita into everything you do. So, gosh, it's so rich. I'm looking at our time, and I'm just wondering if there's any practice you want to offer, or anything that would be appropriate for these women around womb healing, or any chanting or anything you'd like to offer that would give them a little taste.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. So let's, close our eyes and sit comfortably with your palms open, and begin to visualize this golden light above your head, this universe, which is nothing but golden light all around you. And take a deep breath in. As you breathe in, this golden light is like liquidifying, becoming molten golden lava. We're coming into you and pouring into your head. And as it's pouring in, visualize this light going down your spine, all the way down to the base of the spine, and filling up your body like a glass being filled with this golden light. Each and every cell, each and every molecule of your body is being filled with this golden dust particle. So we can start filling up the golden body with this dust particle from the toes, tip of the toes. All the tip of the toes are being filled with this dust particles, going up like a glass is being filled with the heels, sole of the feet and heels, above the calf and shin, going up and filling up the whole thighs and knees with this golden dust particle, this golden liquid, this golden beautiful vibration of love, joy, and happiness. It's coming up to your base of your spine, filling up the Muladhara chakra, feeling the 4-petal lotus right there. And you can chant the mantra Gum for Ganesha. Gum. 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 And visualizing this serpentine energy that's rising up from the base of the spine all the way up to the third eye. And all the chakras are activated and filling up with the golden energy. And you can see these chakras are vibrating through each and every cell of your being. You can see this radius around you, golden energy around you. And you connect it to the divine above in the universe and connect it to the divine below in the earth through your spine. And there is this golden energy that's coming up from the universe all the way down into your base of the spine and down into the earth. the deep roots of the earth, and from the earth up into your feet and into your spine and all the way to the cosmos above. And you are the channel, you're the channel, you're the connector of the divine light that's flowing through you from the universe above and the earth below. As we remember this, that we are the divine, we are the light, let's chant a mantra. It's called I'm Clean Soul. As we start chanting, just visualize it coming in with I. As we say clean, it's going all the way down into your spine. Clean. And as we say so, it's going into the earth. So, and now from the deep roots of the earth, back into, going back up. So, into the spine. Clean. And connecting to the universe. I. So we'll chant 3 times. Just I'm clean, so clean, I'm. I clean, so clean. I clean, so clean. One last time. I clean, so clean. I. Bringing your hands to your heart as we are vibrating with this energy of Lalita Tripura Bala Lalita Tripura Sundari. This is the mantra for Bala Lalita Tripura Sundari. The mantra for the womb. Visualizing her to clarifying, purifying, grounding you, uplifting you, loving you, nourishing you, cherishing you. You are the instrument of divine that she's working through. You're her channel. Feel her presence in your heart. Feel this golden light like a golden bulb shining bright in your heart. And its radius of light is far and wide, including all your loved ones, your family, your friends, your colleague, your city, your country. And letting it radiate even further as far as you can, the whole globe and the universe. Your light can go as far as you desire. This is the light of love, light of connection, light of joy, light of bliss in your heart. You can chant the mantra Shreem here 3 times. Shreem, Shreem, Shreem. Bow down to yourself. To your divine being. Shri Matre Namah. And to each other. Thank you
So much. Can't wait for these ladies to hear this beautiful interview.
Thank you.